mayhem in New York City, and the politicians in de Blasio have no idea why any of it is going on. And it is only getting worse. The media is puzzled. They don't have any idea why this is going on. And according to AOC, this is taking place because people need bread. People are looting, rioting, beating up cops simply because they need bread. And that's the mindset of so many of these people today. That is the mindset of the liberal elite. They think it's okay to beat up the cops. They fall in with this Black Lives Matter movement about defunding the police, and they're getting their way in New York City. They're getting their way. De Blasio is the head of it. He's painting Black Lives Matter in front of Trump Tower in New York City while cops are getting beat up and people are getting shot and killed. And nobody seems to bat an eye, and they blame COVID. But there is way more going on than meets the eye here. But they refuse to confront the issues and the real reasons as to why New York City has fallen apart. And today we saw a man who was attacked by police with a wooden object during the Brooklyn Bridge protest. NYPD, and he attacked a cop. Literally took a cane or an object of some sort and literally beat the cop over the head. New York City police have released a video of the man who is accused of attacking a group of cops and the New York City Police Department's highest-ranking uniformed member during a protest on the Brooklyn Bridge. The NYPD's Crime Stoppers unit shared the video late Wednesday in a tweet that also announced a reward of up to $2,500 for any information that leads to the person's arrest. And they're just puzzled as to why this is going on. And it says here, the footage shows the man wearing a maroon shirt, khaki pants, and a red bandana around his neck, holding the stick in his right hand as he climbs a fence on the bridge and then runs from the area. And this should appall. Everybody that watches this should be appalled by this. And it is, the mayor is more concerned in New York City with painting Black Lives Matter on the middle of Fifth Ave in the heart of Midtown than he is about his own police getting beat up. His own police are getting beat up, and it's come to a point where a lot of them are probably too afraid to fight back because they're too worried that they're going to be on the next viral video, and they're going to be worried about their livelihood, their family, and their own well-being. But we move forward to the actual idea of the defund the police movement that's taking place and the repercussions that are coming as a result of this. It says, unfortunately for New Yorkers, de Blasio takes turns at being both a putz and a schmuck. He always screws up, the only difference being whether it's intentional. Either way, Gotham gets screwed. New York City is far worse than it's ever been in my lifetime. The latest evidence comes with his agreement to cut police spending by about 17%, including the cancellation of a new class of rookies. So he's bringing more rookies onto the police force and cutting spending by 17%, and then wondering why shootings are going sky high in New York City right now. Says murders are up 25% this year, and the police counted 63 shootings last week compared to 26 for the same week the previous year. Meanwhile, the domino effect will add to the city's misery. The crime spurt, including the tragic murder of 17-year-old Brandon Hendricks, while the police force is facing reductions, means the NYPD will have little or no resources for less serious but still important quality of life issues. So while the police force is trying to find a way to cope with the fact that they're being defunded and they can't handle a lot of they're having trouble keeping up with the shootings, it means the rest of the quality of life issues are going to just completely go by the boards. In New York City, I believe they actually made it legal to urinate in public. They made it legal to urinate in public. So you want to talk about quality of life issues and you want to wonder why New York City is going down the shithole, literally? That's why. And then you have the genius AOC, who has to pipe up and talk about why she thinks New York City is in the condition it's in right now.
You ever wondered what actors and actresses do when they have to get in shape really fast for a movie? Because I can promise you, it's not the same.
I think there's something in crime Let me make something super clear for everyone here having this question. The New York City Police Department has not been defunded. Even with these budgetary changes that were proposed in City Council, A, they're not fully enacted. B, they aren't a real $1 billion in cuts. And C, it's not really, like these cuts aren't really real. And again, they haven't even happened yet. Literally have not even happened yet. So keep in mind that this uptick in crime that's happening right now is with a $6 billion New York City Police Department budget. So our $6 billion, up to $11 billion, but our $6 billion budget has not prevented this uptick in crime. We have funded more and more, we have shoved more and more and more money every single year into the NYPD, $6 billion. And it has not prevented this uptick in crime. So why, but let's back up. Why is this uptick in crime happening? Let's really think about it. Well, this uptick in crime, you know, the NYPD themselves have told a story that's disproven by their own data. At first, the NYPD, they went out and they said, okay, this uptick in crime is happening because of bail reform, because of all of these reforms that we had now. Wait, but they just released data a couple weeks ago that showed that out of almost all the people who have been found to have kind of committed crimes, etc., almost none have been re-released due to the bail reform. Like their actual crime data from the NYPD, not even independent data, disproves what they're saying. So why is this uptick in crime happening? Well, let's think about it. Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now? The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession? Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent. And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel that they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night. Maybe it's the fact that unemployment provisions have not been given to everyone. Maybe it's because of the fact that some people still haven't gotten their stimulus checks yet.
So there you have it. The genius AOC says that it's not because they released people from prison, which they have released people from prison. They have what she is claiming here is totally false, because there have been countless instances in which police officers have reported picking up a suspect who was released from prison, or not released from prison. He was found committing a specific crime, charged, taken in, and then released on the spot due to the bail reform, and then arrested for the same exact crime a couple hours later. So that is completely false. And if she wants to talk about the issues when it comes to people not having what they need to support their families, why don't we consider trying to figure out ways to reopen the country? Why don't we consider the fact that there is a good possibility that there is a lot of false reporting that is taking place with COVID, and that there's a good possibility that they're actually trying to lock this country down for other reasons? So here, again, it says NYPD brass blames released Rikers inmates for sparking June crime wave. And you really want to get to the idea of why these crimes are taking place? They're emptying the prisons, and they're saying it's happening due to COVID. Top NYPD officials blamed bail reform, Rikers' compassionate release, and shutdown of court systems for releasing violent felons onto the streets, causing a wave of violent crimes, including shootings, murders, and serious assaults. So that's what's going on right now. Their bail reform, it's a combination of bail reform, compassionate release, and the shutdown of the court system. So these people are not being brought in, being tried. They're not being put in prison because they can't be put in prison, because we're told that they can't because of COVID, even though There's no reason that if, the masks are so perfect and they work so well, then why can't they socially distance people in prison and make them wear masks, and they should be just fine. It says the crisis hit a crescendo this past 4th of July weekend as there was 96 shootings, 11 murders, and 64 people wounded citywide. Most jarring was that all those killed over the weekend in the entire month of June were people of color, officials said. So this is hurting the black community, is hitting it harder than any other community. If Black Lives Matter really believed that Black lives do matter, they would be protesting this. They would be protesting the fact that the police are being defunded and that the mayor doesn't give a shit about policing these communities to protect black people. And then finally, you have, this is what the heart of the Black Lives Matter movement is all about. And I know people like to try to sit here and go back and forth about the message and the this and the that. If people really didn't believe in what the leader is saying right here, they would condemn this.
Fox Business, Fox News Audio.
They would condemn the message being put forth by the leader of the Black Lives Movement, who says that they just want to burn the system down. That is their end game. They want to burn down the system. So that pretty much gives you an idea of what is going on in New York City, and the story that the media refuses to tell you. They refuse to confront the fact that the reason we're seeing this uptick in crime is because they are actually defunding the police. Bail reform is putting people back out on the street in a matter of hours, most of the time, regardless of what they're being charged with. And we're being told that the prisons need to be emptied as a result of COVID. So take these things into consideration when you see the chaos that's taking place in New York City right now.